everyone. Welcome to episode 3 of Hot or Not.
Oh, unified head turn there. Beautiful.
How has your week been?
Episode 3. Oh, yes. I sort of feel like we've gone backwards. It's been a very good week. Thank you.
Yeah? I've been angry all week.
Oh, yeah, you have been.
Yeah, I don't know
Not
why.
with me very much, luckily.
It's very hard to be angry with you. You're so wonderful. Yeah, I've been angry all week. I don't know why. My wife.
So is the not category spicy this week?
No, you know what? It's actually this week I've stayed really professional. So there's no nuts on the list.
Oh, what a disappointment.
It's
I'm
really,
moving out already.
I know, it's hardcore marketing.
Okay. I'm ready to learn.
So
please, Oracle, inform us.
I will inform you as well as our legion of fans. Number 1 on the hot list this week are retail media networks. Okay? Retail media networks, I think the best way of thinking about it is retailers have billboards. So, that could be digitally or physically. So think of Tesco's.
Okay.
That might have billboards, sort of digital signage in store, obviously also a website. So think of it like banner ads on websites. It's retailers who obviously sell products from other companies, having ad space within their ecosystem that they can then advertise.
But not the same as, so we did some work for you back with TCC, who obviously did the ad campaigns.
Yes.
Is it, it's the end of aisle type thing, but not those promotional pieces.
It could include that as well, but retail media networks, mostly the digital.
They've aggregated.
Exactly. Okay. So retail media networks are going to be really hot this year, and I absolutely understand why. In fact, people are saying that brands are taking content budgets away from social into retail media networks. And you can understand why, right? Why not advertise your product at the very place it's being bought?
Yeah, now I understand what it is. I'm already, my brain's going, this is great. Well, if you think about what's the classic, in fact, years ago, helped do the advert for, was it the Wing on the A4 coming into London? What was that beautiful bronzed billboard, digital, massive?
Oh, the one we worked on.
Yeah,
the Wing.
It was the Wing, wasn't it? Right. So, why place a billboard like that? Because you got all that traffic flowing past every day. So footfall, basically.
Yes.
The same is true of Tesco's and so, all these places. There's absolutely thousands of people every day walking slowly around the store looking for things. And you're basically saying, let's use that space to.
Exactly. It's retailers almost becoming the new Google and Facebook. It's better targeting, obviously much higher sales conversion because you are actually at the place, you're going to that place in order to.
I guess a little harder to track because you don't necessarily know. You can't connect, saw that.
Well, maybe not physically in store, certainly digitally online you can track.
But also in the new. But by the way, slight side note on you here, but what happened to the Amazon store that knows what you bought as you just walk out the door? Because that could track it, couldn't it? People he saw that advert, he picked up.
That's very true. I don't think they've done so well. I've used those stores before. I think the main problem is the actual produce in the store wasn't that good.
Oh, okay. But potentially where I'm going with all that is the tech actually exists that we could close the loop.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
You could go, we saw a billboard and picked up X, Y, Z. Okay.
Like I said, higher sales conversion. And we've spoken about the in-store experience before and how brands specifically with their own brand stores are making sort of digital signage as well as big physical activations to make the in-store experience.
Where digital meets physical has been a whole campaign of our own.
Yeah, very much so. Right. So you're finding bricks and mortar stores are being made to work harder, more experiences, and now actually allowing more direct revenue conversion on sales.
I love this.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's great. What a great take.
So thanks. Amazon Retail Media Network generates over $40 billion a year, and you've got big US stores doing it as well. But between 2016 and 2021, I know those stats are a bit old, but it surged from 1 billion to 30 billion, and they're saying that retail media.
And this is do they have any data on how that's split between online versus physical?
I haven't got it here, but we could probably.
Because that would be quite interesting to understand. Obviously, the online space does make sense. That's the Google Ad display in a different form.
Yeah.
I'd be curious about the physical aspect of it.
Yeah, well, I think that is the exciting bit. I think that's what we're interested in because we are always seeming to be involved in sort of creating digital content for these physical experiences, right? Projected market share in the US, retail media spending is expected to account for 23.5% of all digital advertising spent by 2025. Now, that's a big shift in budget allocation.
Okay.
So, there you go. Retail media networks.
Retail media networks.
Glad you liked it. Second one I've created. It's called. It's called the 2-second scan TM. So I noticed I was doing this the other day.
Swear it was a 5-second scan earlier.
Yeah, no, and I actually put some thoughts into it, and I was like, this could be the greatest ever marketing sort of technique ever devised. So I need to put some time into it. We're noticing the other day, we've obviously just launched our new website, sexy new website, and as I was going
passes the 2 seconds.
It does pass the 2 second scan test, because basically with our design team and our web team, I was constantly saying, it wasn't just a website. We're also sort of slightly evolving our brand a little bit across some other assets as well. And with the copy and everything, I was constantly saying, people won't understand it. People won't understand it. Attention deficit has become so small, or attention deficit has increased, whatever you want these days.
All the way around, yeah.
Is that I think people aren't even bothering to read titles anymore. I think it's a scan. I think people scan social media posts. I think they scan websites. I think they scan copy, visuals, design, whatever. And I think you need to get across, 2 seconds probably even being a bit too generous. I think you need to get across the main thrust of your brand. And this is why branding is so important. We won't go into that argument right now. That everything has to be done in a 2 second scan. Everything. Unless there is an absolute reason that the audience is there to read and actually ingest that particular content, it has to be communicated in 2 seconds.
Okay, so look, I think this is quite fun. Let's play into the stereotypical roles here as science, style versus substance. If you can't back it up with anything, I might not be buying from you. But I actually am inclined to agree. Effectively, what you're really talking about here is applying that same, it's the opening line of a book, the classic thing. How good can you make that people kind of stay and read on? And the first couple of seconds of watching a video defines whether they're actually going to engage with it.
Yeah.
And it's applying that same rigor to places like a website, and acknowledging that, most web pages probably have too much copy on them. Certainly,
just web pages. We're having old school business cards for some of the events we're going to, right? Haven't used those in a while, and instantly looked at the business card, thought I couldn't read my name in a second or 2 seconds. I was like, well, it needs to be something else on there that people can read.
Okay.
So, and it's actually backed up by science. So people spend 1.7 seconds on a piece of content on mobile before scrolling. That is from Meta. So actually, my 2 second scan has some scientific backing. Obviously, I came up with that before. The average consumer sees 10,000 ads per day. I cannot believe that. I can't believe that. But we are in the scanning era. So the two
average, you've got to include people like my parents in the average. There's no way that's
I imagine that's quite broad. But what I'm saying, we are in the scanning era, not the reading era. We're in the scanning era.
I think that's fair.
Okay, now this is one from Phil, who is our growth marketing lead at the agency. I asked him what he thought was hot this week, and I'm afraid it sort of plays into one of the subjects we spoke last week, which is B2B2C. Phil was starting to see LinkedIn ads advertised on Meta, that's Facebook and Instagram. So he now believes that maybe even B2B2C isn't even existing. He thinks it's B2C now, that actually when LinkedIn, that is the social media network for business, is advertising on a heavily consumer platform, what is B2B anymore?
Well, this is interesting because I've actually had a bit of this conversation with the team last year, talking about where we should be advertising or looking and things, and just, well, you've kind of actually already covered this a bit with CEOs should be doing some of their retail investor hype on platforms like X. And I think this is all intermingled, and it's part of a wider trend of us. It's also, and this is a bit of a reach, but there's something about as the generations come through, everything is getting a slightly more casual, more personal, in a nice way, in a healthy way, right? So from stiff suits, perfectly dressed, down as you watch the generations come down, even learning Spanish as I've been doing at the moment, that you've got the sort of formal preposition to somebody. I was like, well, when does that get used? It's basically when you're talking to 80-year-olds. It's dying out. And that, for me, is part of why there used to be quite a big separation between B2B and B2C, and why now actually we just blend together, and that's a nice thing. And it's because you can speak plainly to people and engage with people, and maybe it's just this whole cultural movement down to us being more colloquial generally, and therefore wanting the same type of interesting, engaging.
Very much so. I don't want to push that too much. We've spoken about it before. I would have thought you as the last bastion of the sort of the 80-year-old generation, but even you're kind of hip these days. Okay, so now okay. Again, I don't want to go into this particular, but we are not in America. Super Bowl is nothing, but obviously the whole world seems to be obsessed with Super Bowl ads
within the world of marketing.
Within the world of marketing. Fair point. Fair point.
Yeah.
And I am just so bored of it.
Yeah.
It's the same.
Oh, I'm delighted you put this in the note.
It's the same shit every year.
About Super Bowl ads.
It's like, honestly, the same ads. It's celebrity endorsements doing something silly in a highly polished ad. And, you know, number one, obviously they're incredibly expensive spots. So actually, they want to play it safe. Celebrity endorsement, highly polished, overproduced ad. I get it. But actually, crikey, there's such an opportunity to be doing something different.
It's some guerrilla Super Bowl ads.
You know, something maybe tied in. You know, it seems like the sort of tie-in socials are usually very reactive or sort of channel hacking or things like that. I'm bored. I'm so bored of it. And, you know, I don't know what. I mean, it seems the fact they keep on doing it every year seems like people must be ingesting it all the time. To be fair, from this year, it seemed the best performing ads were ones that didn't really promote celebrity endorsement so much, but were sort of zany, which I kind of think is actually like a bit of a tailwind from the celebrity stuff anyway. You know, Mountain
You're not going to let them off with that either.
No, you know, so like Mountain Dew's one with the seal, which is kind of interesting. It was fun, but also just, you know, I just think there is so much more opportunity to do something interesting there.
I put it to you that this is, in fact, a symptom of your LinkedIn world, seeing it all over the feed, and that no one else is worried about them as much as you. And the reason those people are all worried about them is because they're one of the last places you can still get a massive marketing budget for a video.
Yeah, okay, fair.
So I think people are just super excited to keep hyping them up because it's the one place someone will drop 25 mil on an advert in 2025.
Fair enough. I think, you know, even user-generated content.
Mining them only confirms that maybe you don't need to spend that kind of money anymore. I don't know. I'm with you. I sort of get a bit bored of seeing the analysis. On the other hand, I'm going to put in a small defense for them. You can do magical things. We've spoken about. There needs to be some defense of the high-budget advert. I go back to that one for the Tyson Fury stuff. That Tyson Fury, you know, fight hype stuff that is just so good.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, you're right. It gets a bit too sanitized, doesn't it, by the size, potential scale of the audience. So, interesting question. I wonder if it, in today's age, even is the big audience. I'm sure on normal broadcast TV, it's the most watched stuff, but I wonder if there are other ways of actually getting more engaged eyeballs. Anyway.
For sure. Well, just on the last bit on that is, you know, reliance on celebrities and ads decreased from 77% in 23 to 54% in 2025. So it does seem to be waning a little bit. Right, second one, customer support. Now, I think everyone has a problem with customer support. There is a sort of...
You spent time
with this. Okay. I was on Booking.com. I had to talk to their customer...
car hire debate.
Yeah, I won't get into those details. But to be able to talk to customer support, I always had to reach out. They then sent me an email with a code. I then had to log into Booking.com with my password, use that code to get into Booking.com, and then write the message. Then they obviously replied back to me, not that delayed, maybe half a day later, which is fine. And then I had to log back in, put that code back in. And I just thought, what the hell's going on with customer? It's a nonsense, right? As we're becoming more and more digitally connected, customer support, especially with AI, seems to be getting worse and worse. And I think
it's interesting. I wonder, because I was in my head, I was thinking, well, the theme tune here is that this is the AI's great moment. As it stands, this could be one of the greatest examples of AI currently not able to deliver.
Yes.
In that.
And we
can understand the theory of why an AI support agent is the best idea ever. Yeah. But as we've already established, a 95% good video with 7 fingers on a hand is a crap video. Yeah. And this is exactly what
it's a very good reading of it. Exactly.
It's not good until it's perfect, and it's not perfect, so it's actually the inverse. It's awful.
And it will get there, but this is what I think is the short-term thing, is social media. Social media, and I'm including WhatsApp in that, seems to be the perfect way of being able to communicate with customers.
Yeah. Okay.
If you can have the infrastructure, have real-time feedback, and, you know, I love it when and it seems especially prevalent here that you've got WhatsApp as your sort of, that, to me, even when I see that, I actually get a sort of wave, even though...
Well, that's about them coming to you, whereas what you've just described is you being forced to go to them.
Yeah.
It's a lot of the Zendesk, no criticism of them, but, you know, they basically said, well, we've created this funnel, so you need to push your customers into it. So in order to get a Zendesk ticket, you're going to need to go and log in, etc.
Yeah.
you need to bring it to
social media.
You know.
I just think it's a huge. I mean, so brands use it at the moment. I think it could be 10x how much.
Oh, it's interesting. I know you went. I promise it is a bit marketing. I think it's very directly marketing because it affects immediately how you go and talk about a company. And
For
the most powerful form of marketing in the world is word of mouth. So there you go. Lovely.
Right, last knot. We've been hearing about this for ages, and it sort of died down a bit. And then I saw a couple of publications or posts about this week. I was like, oh god, this again. Voice. I don't know whether you remember, like when Alexa voice.
I have a voice. I'm using it now. What do you mean?
Do you remember when Alexa came out? Everyone was like, voice is the next frontier of marketing. And, you know, Amazon is putting 50 billion, whatever it was, into voice. You know what? A few years later, that died off. And I was like, okay, no one's ready for it. Now I'm seeing posts, this, 2025 trend report saying that voice is back and voice is going to be. I'm sorry, it's not. It's definitely not.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Because they seem to serve you adverts about the things you talk about. Maybe they're using voice differently to how you feel.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's no doubt they are listening to us.
So I think voice works just fine. It's just the optics.
It's if it's omnidirectional, is that marketing? If you're not to be shunned by the marketing community, no, it's a discussion, right? It's a dialogue. I think users aren't using voice. Amazon did lose shitloads of money. I don't have. I think it was like 50 billion they lost on the sort of Alexa, and predicting that everybody 5 years ago was going to be using voice to order shopping, etc., etc. It seems like most people are just using it to like set a clock, set a timer, whatever.
I was going to say, I use it to set a timer, just to be like, hey, remind me in 5 minutes for the cooking or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know how much marketing leverage there is in that particular, but
No. So this has been the criticism leveled at Siri as well, but the big promise that wasn't delivered that AI is supposed to get better at. Your point is that you don't think people want to talk to it?
Not yet. I think I think so. For example, I actually quite like using AI voice for certain sort of strategic stuff that we're doing. And it's when it is just you and me in the office, sometimes I won't do it because I think the last thing people want. It's like when you're speaking on the phone, right? The last thing you want to hear is somebody else's fucking phone conversation going on. I don't do it because in the end, how I type like this. I type like that for hours, sort of getting out what I could have got. So I understand the potential of voice. I don't think it's happened. I don't think tech has sorted it out properly yet, and I certainly don't think advertisers have managed to leverage it properly either. And already I'm just seeing posts about voice being big in 2025. I disagree.
Okay. Well, interesting. I think you're probably right. It smacks a little of the 3D TV. It's sort of never quite.
No, I definitely think it has more potential than 3D TV. I think
sure, but what I mean in this unrealized promise as it stands here today. So.
I mean, it reeks to me like
maybe maybe it will make it into your hot category by autumn. Who knows?
Maybe. There's, like I said, we aren't everything is not. We're not shunning it. And by the way, by the same token, everything we're saying is good. That's not good for life. We're just giving the temperature of the week from our expert opinions.
Well, thanks, buddy. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, thank you. Very professional.
Remind me of your first one again. The name of it?
Retail Media Network.
Retail Media Networks.
That was your favorite.
If there was a super hot, it was that.
Wow. Okay.
There you go.
We're not. Let's not have more categories, please. Anyway, everyone, we've got in trouble A for having a big laptop on the table from our thousands of listeners and viewers. So as you can see, I've used the iPad. And B, we got in trouble for it being too long.
Can we all just insert some comments on the white leather iPad as well this week? That'd be great. Thanks,
love everyone. Cheers.